Hey guys, Dad here. In this video, I'm going to show you how I made a brute to forge chopper. Here I made a sketch for a client and he wanted a knife, the single purpose knife just for cutting tomahawk steaks. I have a metal template that will take the heat a lot better than that paper does, because we take the paper over to the forge and we keep sizing the steel to fit the profile of our template. And if you're using paper, the paper burns up pretty easy, but the steel won't. I put stops in there so I don't overwork the steel. I just want to work the steel at appropriate intervals. I don't want to stress it. This particular die is a widening die. The dies are made so that it will push the metal out to the left instead of just flat straight dies. This actually pushes it in one direction. We're going to take the hammer and we're gonna forge this thing 100%. I didn't take the chop saw and grind the tip to preform the angle, the tip on the front. I went ahead and forged the whole thing out. Now we're going to put some clay on here. It's satinite is what we use in the forge, but the clay will slow down the quenching process, which you'll see here in a minute. It's the first time I've done a hamon. It's the first time I've done a chopper. And first time I've done brute to forge style forging on a blade. There's a lot of firsts on here for me. Now we're getting ready to go into the heat treat oven. And that is it's just over 1500 degrees. And you see my knife barely fits in there. I had to put it on a slight angle so it fits in the forge. When we do this process, it makes the steel very, very hard. It happens right here. We're quenching this in Parks 50 quenching fluid. Off camera right after heat treat, we temper back the blade so it's not brittle.
Hey guys, Josh here. Just a shameless plug for the awesome course my brother and family made. Basically, if you want to learn how to make an advanced knife that will force you to improve your skills as a knife maker, then check out the Takedown Bowie online course. Kyle teaches you in detail how you can level up your knife making by taking you from start to finish, making a Mastersmith quality takedown Bowie knife. If you're just getting started in knife making and you want to take your next steps in your journey, then check out the Beginner Bladesmith online course. Kyle shows you don't need expensive tools to make a beautiful, simple, everyday carry knife. But Josh, why should I care? Well, because we're having a 40% off discount that will not last long. If you get one of our courses today, you will have it for life. You can come back and watch it however many times you want. We know you'll love it. That's why we're offering you a 14-day money-back guarantee. So get a course today so you can challenge yourself and win.
I'm putting in some of the grinds. I'm grinding from the blade edge all the way up to the spine. That's a tall blade. So it takes a lot of grinding to get the material. It's kind of like doing a 16-inch knife. By the time you get all that real estate out there you're trying to grind on. I put those little wood blocks on there to keep me from over grinding up in the bolster and ricasso area. I just super glue these wood blocks on there. I'm getting ready to see where I want to put my convex grind now. I'm going to take that slack belt and grind back to that Sharpie mark. And we'll drag it across a brass rod for part of the performance test. It's got to flex. The blade needs to be thin enough that you can see that flex over the brass rod without deforming or cracking. It's incredible how that steel will flex right over it. We do that on both sides. Look for deformation as part of the performance test. Right here I've got a whetstone I'm sharpening on for the preliminary chopping performance test. We'll get it so it shaves hair, and then we'll chop through a 2x4 with it. Then it still has to shave hair in the same spot that you were chopping in. And being that this knife is very good at chopping, because that's what it was designed for, it goes right through that 2x4 with little resistance, and it still shaved hair. So once it passes the performance test, I'm going to put my name on the blade because I'm proud of it, and I want to make sure that everybody knows that this came out of our shop. We etched this in with chemicals, electro etching. And there it is. I drove it in kind of deep because of the Brute de Forge style forging. It's hard for it to show up sometimes, so I etched it just a little bit deeper. I'm getting ready to fit the bolster on now. I do layout, put some pencil lines on there, put some Sharpie lines on there to get the bolster figured out exactly where I want it. I got the tang marked out there also. I'm going to start removing material on the tang because the rest of the blade is close to being done. So we're going to work on the tang and get the bolster fit. Now I'm getting ready to do some precision grinding and milling at the ricasso area so that the bolster will actually inlay into the ricasso. We relieve the tang on the top and bottom with grinding. Now I'm taking a carbide mill and relieving the sides, and the bolster is going to slip right up on that. Just a beautiful, perfect fit. This is one of those processes where you want to get in a hurry, but if you do, it looks really bad. So you take your time, just keep going back and forth between the filing bench and the vise, and gently keep driving it on, gently, 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 until you get it to where you want it. It has to fit on there nicely. We got the bolster fit on there very nicely. So now I want to finish up the blade quite a bit further. So I'm going to do some final sanding on here, and I'll protect it through the rest of the build. I'm going to temper that back to tang so it makes it a little bit more springy. So I'm going to wrap this knife up real good and protect it, and start working on the handle. Make sure I got the right size hole. Don't want to oversize any of the holes. Everything needs to fit properly. Even though we're going to epoxy and pin this handle on, we want the handle to fit snugly. We don't want it to just fit loose on there. All the tools in the shop are carving tools. You got a hammer, it's a carving tool. You got a mill, it's a carving tool. You got a circle saw, jigsaw, bandsaw, it's a carving tool. Same with the drill bit on a 3600 RPM drill. It's just a carving tool. Yeah, it drills holes, but it also carves. You can use the sides of the the drill to make the hole a little bit wider without getting a bigger drill bit out. You can just fine tune it. So just look at your tools in the shop as carving tools. They don't necessarily have to do a single purpose. They're good for many different things. I've got alignment pins between the bolster and the handle also. Not only did the bolster fit on snug and the handle fit on snug, but there's alignment pins between the two, so they fit in the same spot every time. So I can take this handle off and go carve on it on the belt sander a little bit and put it back on the tang, back on the knife, and it fits the same every time. Even if you get the handle a little bit loose, which is kind of rare because you usually fit on there very nice and snug. If they're a little loose, those alignment pins bring it back to the same spot every time. So you can take the handle off, work on it, put it back on, work on it, back and forth. It came out beautifully. I love the copper alloy that I cast. It's got this beautiful bronzy look to it. It's sometimes it comes out kind of like a rose, almost like a rose gold. I got a silicon bronze pin, the Honduran rosewood burl with a Brute de Forge W2. Came out really nice. A lot of firsts. Brute de Forge, my first big monster chopper. Just a beautiful, beautiful knife. W2 was a first for me. I'm loving it. I'll see you in the next video. May the forge be with you. Bye-bye.
Don't forget to check out our online courses for 40% off. The link is in the description.